All right, I will call the planning commission meeting to order for August 26, 2026 with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everyone. Roll call, please.
Harold Bain.
Here.
Whitey
Late,
Simon.
but here.
He's absent excused.
Mark Bouchard.
Here.
Chris Altoona.
Here.
Christine Holcomb.
Here.
Robert Muesling here. Wayne Torno.
Here.
Margie Ferris.
Here.
And Kathy Schweikart.
Here, thank you. Number 4 is approval/amendments to the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Support.
We have a motion to support. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Whitey Simon is absent. Harold Bain.
Abstain.
Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Chris Altoona.
I'll abstain as well.
Christine Holcomb.
Yes.
Robert Muesling, yes. Wayne Torno.
Yes.
Margie Ferris.
Yes.
And Kathy Schweikart.
Yes. Item number 5, approval of minutes of July 22nd, 2026. That's 5A.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Support. We have a motion to support. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Whitey Simon is absent. Harold Bain.
Abstain, wasn't here.
Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Chris Altoona.
This is the July meeting.
July 22nd?
I'll abstain.
Christine Holcomb.
Yes.
Robert Muesling, yes. Wayne Torno.
Yes.
Margie Ferris.
Yes.
And Kathy Schweikart.
Yes. Item 6 is new business. 6A is a public hearing. Before we start that, I'm going to read the rules for public comment and public hearing comments. Number 1, all comments must be made through the chairperson. Comments directed to the applicant from the audience are prohibited. 2, individuals wishing to speak have time limits, 3 minutes for each member of the general public and 6 minutes for a spokesperson of a larger group, for example, subdivision, association, condo, association, business group, smaller groups. Number 3, anyone wishing to speak is asked to sign in the sheet provided. However, anyone wishing to speak will be given the opportunity. For each individual will be allowed to speak once. It will be the chairperson's decision as to whether rebuttal comments will be allowed. 5, citizens may appoint a spokesperson to represent those who agree on a point of view. 6, public comments on a specific public hearing request should be made during the public hearing for that item. All right, with that said, item 6A is 5108 Point Trumbull Road, special approval land use per section 15.03, 520.08 of the Clay Township zoning ordinance 126. I'll open the public hearing at 7:04. Karen?
So tonight, we have a special land use application before us. This is for 5108 Point Trumbull Road. The applicant is requesting the use of a gas station at this property. Just a little background, this address has asked for a gas station in the past, some years past, I'm not sure when. It went through the special land use process and at that time was approved. However, approval is only valid for 12 months and it doesn't sound like any action was taken until this property is requesting the use of a gas station, which is a special land use in the C3 district. They are requesting to use the current building as a convenience store, and then they are going to install 4 fuel pumps on the east side of the property. So that would be able to service a total of 8 cars. The applicant is proposing to remove the 2 driveways along Point Trumbull Road and replace with a single driveway on that roadway to handle 2-way traffic, as well as make a modification to the driveway along Helene to also accommodate 2-way traffic. a 450 square foot patio is also proposed. So when we do a review for any use, we look at the district regulations, whether there are any specific use regulations, as well as other elements such as parking, lighting, the location of trash receptacles, off-street loading. And because this is a special land use, we also consider the special land use criteria, which is something that the planning commission has to determine, is this use going to be harmonious with this particular area of the township? And so in doing this review, the property does meet all the requirements of the C3 district as when it comes to, building location and size and parcel size as well. So then we move on to specific use standards. And the use standards for gas stations also includes if there's a gas station and a service center. There is not going to be a service center at this location. It's just going to be the retail store and the gas station. But in the use regulations, there's a lot of provisions that, if you're doing any repair work, where the vehicle is going to be stored, is there going to be any vehicles for sale, because that's prohibited. And the applicant is implicated that there is not going to be service on there. However, it wasn't cited on the site plan. So a lot of these confirmations can be done verbally tonight. Plan Commission can also request that these changes also be made on the site plan. But again, some of the items that need to be answered either verbally or on the site plan. No repair work shall be permitted other than incidental service, including the addition of motor oil, windshield wiper fluid, or transmission fluid. The applicant must confirm that this standard will be met. No steam cleaning or undercoating shall be permitted. Again, the applicant must confirm that this standard is met. Any stored items must not be stacked higher than the enclosing wall height. Outside storage or parking of disabled, wrecked, or partially dismantled vehicles shall not be permitted for a period exceeding 5 days. The applicant must confirm that the standard will be met. The sale of new or used cars, trucks, trailers, and any other vehicles on the premises is expressly prohibited. The applicant must confirm that this standard will be met. And then aside from those outstanding items, there is also some questions about if there's going to be restroom doors available from the exterior, if those will be labeled in any way. The applicant must confirm if that standard will be met or if everything's going to be in the interior. If there is, again, the applicant just needs to confirm that there isn't going to be any service facilities there, because it says for food service areas shall be physically separated from vehicle repair service facilities. Again, the applicant must confirm that the standard will be met. And for facilities consisting of any underground storage tanks, the site shall be 300 feet away from any residential well, 800 feet away from a non-community public water well, and 2,000 feet away from any public water well. And again, the applicant just must confirm that this standard is met for any fuel storage that's happening underground. There shall be no above-ground storage dispensing tanks on site without leak-proof secondary containment sufficient to accommodate 120% of the volume of the tank. The applicant must confirm that this standard is met. And aside from those outstanding things, there's several gas station-specific items that they do meet. They meet the proper lot width, ingress and egress. They meet the standards for that. If they are bordering a property that is residential, like they are to the north, they have to provide a masonry wall. They have provided that on their plan for additional screening between the two uses. Exterior lighting needs to be shielded. They have provided information that that will be met. They are updating their landscaping to meet the requirements for landscaping at the gas stations. And there's several regulations for convenience stores, such as they're not going to have any drive-through lanes, and that things are oriented in a way that are going to be safe for customers walking to the store to reduce human-car conflicts. The applicant did receive a variance for their dumpster location. So they, again, the dumpster is screened properly, it's in the proper enclosure. They did get an exemption from the requirement for how far it needed to be away from the property line. And they were granted that last month, I believe, or the month before. They meet all the lighting requirements of Clay Township. Their off-street parking and loading layouts, again, meet the requirements of the township zoning ordinance. Any questions about drainage or paving, I'd have to defer to the township engineer. They would be able to confirm if there is proper drainage on site. And again, lastly, we land on the special land use criteria. When you do your discussion and review tonight and take in the public comments, the Plan Commission is going to have to determine, if the applicant is able to confirm all those outstanding items just about, the operation of the business, there's not going to be any vehicle repair services that would conflict with the requirements of the zoning ordinance. They meet everything else, but the Plan Commission still needs to determine if this use is going to be appropriate at this location in the township. So based on that, because if the applicant is able to confirm those outstanding items, if they're able to do that, I would recommend approval of this use so long as the Planning Commission finds that it does meet all the criteria of your special land use requirements. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Karen. That was a lot.
I was like, wow.
Is the applicant present? If you wish to come to the podium, please state your name. And then if you could address the items that Karen brought up.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Nick Bauer. I work with Stonefield Engineering and Design. We're the civil engineers for the project. Here tonight on behalf of the applicant, Yatuma Oil. Randy Hanna is also here as well on their behalf. I did prepare a bit of a presentation, but I think that she did a wonderful job going through everything. So if you guys have any specific questions on the site, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Regarding the outstanding items that she had mentioned, we are agreeable to everything she had noted within her review. To clarify, no vehicular service is proposed or intended on site. All the other items, we're more than agreeable to meeting and do intend to meet.
No storage of vehicles?
No.
What about the bathrooms?
I'm sorry.
No exterior bathrooms.
Is there going to be a Class C operator there or a Class B operator there that's going to be there? They manage the fuel tanks?
Randy, do you know?
Are there going to be a Class C or B operator there to manage the fuel tanks?
To manage the fuel tanks?
Yeah,
So we-
to monitor the fuel tanks.
So we deal with Oscar Larson.
Got it. You're good.
I see in the drawings you have proposed stormwater catch basins, and you have a proposed over on Helen Street, a proposed manhole, stormwater manhole. When are those going in?
Those will be built as a part of these improvements. We do plan to collect all on-site drainage, and we'll be going to the county for their review and permit prior to construction.
Is that your spill containment, proposed stormwater catch basin?
So we will have the most downstream structure will have an oil-water separator within it in order to capture any contaminants before they enter the city's system.
That's a standard for all our sites.
what the hours of operation for the gas part would be?
Same as the store, which won't change. It's 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday. They're open till 10 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays, and they close at 8 p.m. on Sundays.
What's the sprinkler density on the overhead sprinkler heads?
I believe they will meet all the IFC requirements for that. I'm not privy to the exact requirements. Randy, if you...
Are you talking about for the fuel pump canopy?
Yeah, yeah.
So the state no longer requires a fire suppression system. We have a electronic, so there's a state of the art for the underground storage tanks that they use a specific type of emergency stop mechanism, and we plan on submitting that to the fire department for review.
So you're going to be using the Vita root panel?
Excuse me?
A Vita root panel?
I believe so.
Yeah, okay.
Going to have handheld extinguishers anyways, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So, I mean, you're going to have your quarterly inspections by Oscar Larson and everything like that, so the state, I don't know. So how many gallons do you think you're going to have underground?
That's a good question.
You know, can I ask you, sir, to come to the podium, because I'm not sure who's recording can hear you. And just state your name again, please. Thank you.
Yes, I'm Randy Hanna with Utuma Oil. I'm the project manager, located at 51300 Danview Technology, Shelby Township, 48315.
Go ahead, thanks.
Oh,
Yeah, I was just wondering how many gallons you're going to store underground? 15, 20,000?
I'm not, I don't want to misspeak. I'm not 100% sure, but it's typical standard for, it's a 3-compartment tank that usually has 3 different types of grades of fuel, a mixture of grades of fuel. It's standard for 4 fuel pumps.
Yeah, okay. This came up in front of us 4 years ago, almost, a little bit under 4 years, a little bit over 4 years ago. This, Danny's?
Yeah.
This is Danny's.
Well, no, I know.
2017.
2017.
Yes.
That's what God, I wish it was 4 years ago. Then I'd still be working.
It expired, but I think he also renewed it for another year. So, no,
All I have to
that
say
pretty much
is
lapsed.
you're wrong and he was wrong.
That's right. We were all wrong.
So yes, we have dealt with this exact location.
Yes,
but
exactly,
it's
scenario.
2017-ish, but it expired for not moving forward, so there's that. Your site plans that we have in front of us, with all the items that Karen mentioned, have these been updated to include?
They haven't. I believe that pretty much every one of the comments could be addressed by simply adding a note to the plans, and if you guys would like us to submit that, then we're more than happy to do so.
I would like that. Any members have any more questions of the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Continue on with public hearing. If there's any members of the public who would like to come forward to make a comment about this public hearing, please come to the podium, state your name and what you'd like us to know.
Hi, everybody. I'm Terry
Wait.
Mas-
We took you to the podium.
I am Terry Mascany Tobacco. I wrote a letter earlier.
And we did receive that.
You all should have a copy of it. So basically, I live across the street, have for almost 30 years from the proposed location, and I am very concerned about a lot of the stuff, as I stated, the traffic, the lights. There's a fresh, we live on a water community. It's rural. There's 2 other gas stations right down the road. And I just think that's way too many for what our little area is. I wish the new owner tremendous success, but just not as a gas station. There's a school, there's bus stops that go both ways right in front of my house. As I stated in my letter, my mailbox has been knocked over probably 5 or 6 times since I've lived there. Only once has somebody stopped to say they hit it. It's a horrible spot. The traffic location is weird. And if I heard, I don't know if I can look that way, but 4 pumps they're going to be putting in. Is that correct? Oh, she left. Was it 4 pumps they're thinking about? Yeah, that doesn't seem like that big of an area for that. And then if they have to put up the wall on the one side and probably on the other side, because there's a house on the west side of the location as well, you get your big trucks coming in with deliveries. I don't know how they're going to manipulate all that. I'm sure the engineering team had it figured out, but it's a concern. There's also a community garden that didn't go in this year because of all the water line work, but that's right across the street on the other side of Helene. You know, there's toxic fumes, possible leakages, light pollution, noise pollution, traffic, all of it. So that's my concern.
Thank you very much, appreciate
So,
that.
and I think there's other people here with concerns, but they haven't gotten up yet.
You have time still.
Hi. Mike Uriman, I'm at the end of Ventura Court in 9785 Ventura, which there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 homes on the little dead-end street toward the river. And on weekends now, it's already terrible trying to get in and out of there without a gas station, people trying to turn in front of you, especially with no left turn lane. So I just think it is just a too busy an idea for the area that it's at. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that. Any other member of the public like to come forward?
Hi, my name's Chris Dixon. I also live on Ventura Court, right next to Mike. I just have a quick question. If there is a contingency plan for the oil separator going into the storm sewer in that area, if there's an alarm or anything that shuts down that system so that we don't pollute the ecosystem in that area? So I don't know if anybody can answer that, or...
We'll see if we can get that answered. How's that?
Good. Thank you.
Any other member of the public? I don't see any other members of the public coming forward, so I will close the public hearing at 7:18. Now that we've heard, Gary, do you want to add anything? No, you're all set. Now that we've heard the comments, what did I say, 7:18? I'm so sorry, 7:24. Thank you. It's been a long day. You heard the last gentleman's comment. Do you have any input?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, as Mr. Hana had indicated earlier, there are automatic spill detection facilities, part of the system, and emergency shutoffs that will immediately terminate the fuel operation to contain any spill that happens. The state regulations for gas stations nowadays are quite strict, and as mentioned, there's quarterly inspections by the state to come and inspect the system to ensure that they're meeting all their regulations.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Karen, you have anything further? Come to the podium.
I'd like to address the site access and maneuverability. We are modifying the approach to fix the traffic flow, so that way it aligns well with what we're proposing. And also for fuel deliveries, they're going to be delivered late in the evening when there's minimal traffic around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board members, any discussion, questions? Comments? Remember, this is special land use criteria. There's items 1 through 7. I think we're all familiar with those items.
There's two there now on the front, one on the side.
We have to talk up, we
So I
can't.
said they're closing one entrance on the approach coming in off of Point Trumbull Road. And they're opening up one on the side, which is a little bit bigger. Have you talked to the town, the county about putting a left turn lane there? Just saying, because I understand the people's problems, but this is like a 45-mile-an-hour area, and it seems like we're getting a left-hand turn lane in front of the ferry, so I don't understand why we can't put left-hand turns, because Point Trumbull's an 80-foot wide easement. Why can't they put left-hand turns to all the businesses? Why is that the county not addressing that? Did you guys go to the county?
We did, so with Point Trumbull being an MDOT road.
Yeah.
We did submit our plans to them, and they did approve us. They required us to reduce the driveways from 2 to 1.
Right.
And then we're putting in a taper for the right turns into the site, but they did not mention or require.
I mean, look at all the businesses down Point Trumbull Road you've got everybody stopping. And then I think that the MDOT should be actually looking more into Point Trumbull than us. I mean, I understand where you guys are coming from, and I understand where the public's coming from, because it stops, starting, everybody's passing on the shoulder to get by. It's, I wish I could.
Any other comments? Questions?
Have you applied for your Eagle permits, or?
You gotta have the special.
Site plan approval from the authority having intersection. It typically takes 3 months.
I know some of the other businesses, following up with Harold, we've requested traffic studies
Yep.
because of M29 being what it is.
Yeah, it's a busy street, no matter how you look at it, and people speed down there, no matter how you look at it. So you go 45, 50, 55 miles an hour, then everybody's hitting the brakes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've had any success from a planning commission point of view with MDOT saying that they agree with us.
No, they do not agree with us,
Yeah.
they say.
Because there's numerous places up and down M29 we've discussed.
Yep.
Cabana Blue was one of
Because
them.
the hill, yeah.
Yeah, that's a blind spot on the hill, too. I mean,
Skip, you got any comments, questions?
Yeah, I guess it comes down to, in my mind's eye, is this a good fit for the neighborhood? I mean, these people bring up some really good points about traffic flow and that. And I don't know if it's appropriate for us to ask for a traffic study.
We've conducted one.
We did complete a traffic study, and we did submit it to MDOT with the plans. And
Did you submit it to us?
It was not submitted to you guys, I don't believe.
Karen, did you see it? Might be good to be able to see it, because we've done that with other projects in the area.
Okay. And that's reviewed by the township's engineer?
I think so. I wouldn't quote me on it unless, Gary, do you know?
so did you get how long was your traffic study? How long was it? Months? Did you
What time of year?
Yeah,
So
what time of
typically they
year?
go out there at the peak morning and peak afternoon times during weekdays, weekend days.
But what time of the year? Because we get busier at certain times of the year. This is a boating community, so there's more people at Algonac Harbor.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be 1,000 people over there.
I believe it was the spring is when it was conducted.
Okay. I would like to see a traffic study.
Be interesting.
Well, one's already been done, so
Yeah,
would you be
yeah,
willing to
of course.
share?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it does make a difference the time of
Yeah.
year. Anything else, Skip, you're thinking?
Yeah, I'd like to reach out to MDOT
Sure.
and give them a jab. I'll do that.
Skip, you're the man.
Okay, Skip.
actually go to the county too. Because the county, MDOT controls the road, but the county gets money from MDOT to make all provisions of the roads. So
It's
you
just,
might,
on 29 is really heavy traffic.
I mean, you look at Clay Township, there's only really one way in, one way out. And M29's it unless you want to go down Starville or you want to go down Holland to get through there. I mean, this is the most direct pattern.
And this summer with all the construction, it's been a little more hazardous than
And they're going to do road construction coming up here in another week or so.
September 8th, I think it starts. Correct?
I'd like to see a traffic study.
Okay. How about you, Chris? Any questions?
No, I would agree with the traffic study, and I mean, I guess I would like to see all the changes that were proposed on the site plan before we approve it. 'cause
I agree.
It'd be different if it was just one or two items, but it seems to be quite a list of items, so I think it'd be appropriate to have that on the site plan before we can, before I would be comfortable making a motion for approval.
I agree with that. Robert, you have anything?
Not as of,
If you don't, that's fine. I can move on to the other Chris.
go ahead.
We can come back.
I'm good.
How about you, Chris?
I just say, Skip, if you're going to deal with MDOT, talk to them. I'm just curious as to why they're not requiring anything along along the stretch here, in
Yeah.
Clay into Algonac, when they required a Dollar General to have one
Exactly.
in Fairhaven.
Yep.
All through Fairhaven, that MDOT project is going to be underway starting next year, and there is going to be a turn lane all the way from the city of New Baltimore through Till Palms Road. There's a turn lane continuous in that whole project, so.
But not coming this
But that may be, that may be a
Maybe
precursor
stepping
to what is to come for us. I know they are doing the paving project here, just resurfacing, but all of that stretch through New Baltimore, through Fairhaven is going to have a turn lane continuous, so.
We even here.
Again, maybe a precursor to what is to come this way, because I think they understand. We've had a lot of meetings in our other communities about safety and that issue, so probably doesn't hurt for residents even, or the board to reach out to MDOT and express our concerns over it, so.
Appreciate that information.
Yep.
Thank you. RG?
Really don't have much except for, I mean, I know there's a couple gas stations over there, but one's always closed. So, and I know we have Kroger, and that's about the only.
That's what I was kind of going to say. It might be nice to actually have some competition, because even though there's several gas stations in the area, it seems like most of them price gouge pretty heavily.
I've been
To put it
hearing
nicely.
that a lot.
To put it nicely.
That's not nice.
Okay, so we've had some discussion. It kind of sounds like we would like to see a traffic study. Skip, you kind of sort of raised your hand to say you're going to reach out to MDOT.
Yeah, I'll reach out to MDOT.
Yeah, see if there's something in the future that they're planning. I mean, there might be something in
Instead
the
of,
pipeline.
pave it now and tear it up in another year and redo it.
They usually have 10-year forecast, so they'll be able to tell you.
And Mr. Bauer, you said you would be okay with updating or making the notations with everything that Karen had talked about? And then we can come back together, and if you can supply the information for the traffic study to the building department, because everything goes through them first, along with the updated site plans? Is there anything else we can think of, besides we need to probably make a motion to?
No, I think everything should be on the site plan that was
It'll be
talked
cleaner
about,
that way.
at least on a sheet of paper attached to it, so they.
There'll be a lot of writing this time.
Oh,
Then I'll make a motion to table a site plan for 5108 Point Trumbull Road. So that the,
Site plan can be updated.
plan can be updated with all of the requests from our planner and a traffic study supplied for our next meeting.
A motion, Skip supports it. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please, Robert.
Harold Bain,
yes.
Whitey Simon is absent. Christine Holcomb,
Yes.
Robert Muesling, yes. Mark Bouchard,
Yes.
Chris Altunen,
Yes.
Wayne Torno. Yes. Margie Ferris,
Yes.
and Kathy Schweikart.
Yes. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, moving on to item number 7, unfinished business. 7A is attached accessory structure discussion. Karen?
So at our July meeting, we continue our discussion of having regulations for attached accessory structures, so that the accessory portion attached to a residential unit is, the goal is to be more balanced with the residence being the principal use of the structure. And so if you go to the third page under item number 9, is where I made some changes. The previous changes were the maximum size of any attached accessory building shall not exceed the floor area of the principal building plus an additional 33%, or 6,000 square feet, whichever is less. And we had some discussion of, well, what if someone wanted more? And as opposed to going to the ZBA, we talked about, well, could they just come to the planning commission and you guys review it and you guys make the determination if that attached accessory structure could be built? So I've added language, special land use approval for larger attached accessory structures. An attached accessory structure that exceeds the size limitation stated above may be approved by the planning commission through a special land use application, subject to review at a public hearing. To qualify, the applicant must continue to comply with the standards below. A, the proposed structure must meet all other dimensional requirements, including but not limited to lot coverage, setback, and building height. All district standards and accessory building standards must be satisfied except for the requested increase in size. No, item number B, no variance from the ZBA may be requested in connection with the proposed attached accessory structure exceeding the size limitation of this section. And item number C, the attached accessory structure may be used only for the purposes customarily accessory to residential use, including but not limited to storage of personal vehicles, boats, sports equipment, personal sports courts, and personal collections. The structure shall not be used to expand a home occupation. And so that's what I have seen elsewhere in other communities, kind of along those same lines. If people are concerned, well, they want a bigger space because they're going to have a crazy business that they're running from home, and that's what that space is used for. It's going to be more commercial and residential. That's supposed to eliminate that. And also kind of give the planning commission a set of criteria to meet so it's easier to make the decision. Are they just asking for an increase in size? Are they meeting everything else? Then you guys might be able to better determine, yeah, this can be acceptable. And that they're also not going to get variances for a bunch of other exceptions as well. So that was the purpose of that additional language, if you guys wanted to entertain having the authority to approve larger accessory structures. Yes, sorry.
Hey, I didn't see the, as far as the construction is concerned and the footings involved with an attached accessory building, should be the same depth as the permanent structure.
Right, and that's all under residential building code, I believe, or just the building code in general. And so we don't typically put that in the zoning ordinance. But every accessory structure that I ever end up reviewing, it always has to meet the same as it would for a residence. So I think that's pretty standard.
Thank you, Karen. Board members, do you have questions of Karen, discussion? Going back and forth on this a lot. We've had Gary's input of why the proportionality. I'll say this, I'm still not super sold on it.
Yeah, I just have a hard time trying to impose restrictions on somebody's attached accessory structure. I have a hard time
That's fine.
justifying that personally.
Any other board member comments?
I have to agree.
Question? Can I say it louder? We gotta hear
I
it.
have to agree with you.
Okay,
I do not, no.
okay. That's
I mean, I
good.
feel like in some instances, maybe in small city lots but if somebody's on 10 acres, I mean,
Well, city lots, you get a, here we go, a variance because you have a small lot. On 10 acres, yeah, I mean, no.
plus you only
I
have
agree with you 100%.
certain square footage you can get on that lot. I don't know, I guess I just look at it as a personal thing. If I were in the position that I was able to do something, that I could have a large attached accessory structure, I would want to be able to do it.
Fair enough.
That's my thought.
I mean,
But this isn't saying you can't, it's just saying take it to the,
It just seems like a lot of red tape. I mean, now they have to come to us to ask if they can use their property to
I'm
have
kind of
a...
agreeing with
I know, but we have
Curtis here.
guidelines on almost every single aspect of building a home, with size, setback.
I would agree
height.
with building a home and
driveway.
setback, but now you're trying to get into everybody's aspect of building, of additions to their home and,
you're trying to do the ZBA work.
yeah.
You know, I mean, is it a hardship to put this big building on your property? I mean, no. ZBAs are for hardship cases, right? Am I correct?
Right, and so this is not a hardship, so it's a
Right.
special land use. So it's the same process of, this might work in the area, it might not. Let me ask the planning commission, the neighbors can weigh in, and you guys can decide, hey, this is no big deal, sure. And, I think this is all coming from the context of everyone, not that we should always be comparing to other communities, but all other communities have red tape for their attached accessory structures. A lot of people say you can't meet, it has to be, it can't, if you have an attached accessory structure, it can be maybe 50% of the principal building or equal to, it can't be any bigger.
Can we interrupt? But what's the reasoning behind that? I guess I'm struggling with that.
Because it's the whole, what is the principal use of the structure? I want to build a single-family home. Great, build a single-family home. Oh, actually, I'm going to attach a garage to it too, and that garage is going to be, triple the size of my home. Well, then, is it a storage facility or is it a house?
But is that why are we in the business of policing what somebody does at their residence? If it becomes they run a business out of it, then it becomes an enforcement issue. It doesn't
Yeah.
become an issue, just because somebody wants to maybe somebody collects 30 cars, and they don't want to spend money on a facility to house their cars. We can't assume that just because they're putting a big building in, they're going to have a business. Maybe somebody will look at that when it goes for sale and say, ooh, that would be great to run my business out of. We might be able to tackle it the first time around, even if we do this procedure and planning commission gets to have their input and they say, yes, we would approve that because you came to us and said you got 12 cars you want to put in there. They sell their house 2 years from now, the next guy says, I'm putting a machine shop in here, that's a lot of space in here. It's an enforcement issue at that point too, so,
It's a zoning issue.
yeah, I don't know, I have a hard time with this one.
What's the, can I ask you a question? What is the maximum size of a non-detached accessory?
Of a detached?
Yeah, a detached.
Is it it's 6,000.
6,000.
So we're
Is
trying
that-
to
So we
keep,
have a guideline for that.
you have you have a ton of guidelines for your detached accessory
So if you want an
structures.
80,000 square foot exterior building, you have to get approval,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So
Through
that's why I'm saying we
ZBA,
have
right?
guidelines for everything as far as
Maybe a
building. We
ZBA
got to
thing.
give them
So we have to be
something.
consistent.
We got to give them something. It just can't be willy,
Right, but if that's a ZBA issue, and then now we're going to make this a planning issue, we're not being consistent with who gets to make these decisions. This person makes this one,
I
this
would
one.
disagree with that, because the point of the ZBA is there's something unique about your property where you can't meet it. That's supposed to be what's going on at ZBA. You're supposed to say, I need an exception because I can't do what everyone else can do, even though I'm in the same district. The point of a special land use is I might want to do something extra or more, and that is different from your ordinance, maybe. Or, a lot of communities, they do have these, you go to a special land use, or you go to a planning commission, like, I think in, some communities, if you have a commercial fence, you have to have a special land use, as opposed to a residential fence. Like, there are these provisions where the planning commission does have authority for certain unique things. You can allow someone to do more, but under a public hearing where, again, the neighbors know about it and they get to weigh in if they're fine with it. If it's a huge lot and no one's going to, if it's not going to, really make an impact on anyone, then chances are no one's really going to have a problem with it. But there are cases right now, I can tell you right now, I can't give the details, but I'm dealing with something along these lines in a neighboring community right now. And the community's trying to figure out how to handle it because, again, the regulations are vague or maybe just not there. So.
Yeah, but don't we have green space regulations, Gary? What's the green space regulation?
And Chris, I know that you weren't here at last meeting.
Yeah, so I'm,
And the direction of the board was that ZBA is for hardships. And so we wanted to take it out of ZBA and bring it to Planning Commission and just make it because I want a bigger facility for no reason to store my 300 cars, whatever it is. And this was the better board to take it to. So you didn't have to go to ZBA and prove any hardship or anything like that ZBA really should be enforcing, right, in order to make that approval. And so what this board would allow and give us some guidelines to say, and not make it so that I have to then enforce it, to say that these are the rules. Yes, you can have this large as really this board would allow them to have. And you can make it unrestricted for that matter. And make it as large as they need it to be, whatever it is that they ask for. But then there are some things in here that says, yes, but it can't be a machine shop. So that Gary doesn't have to go out and hunt it down that it's now a machine shop. That it's being used as recreational, that we're storing all of our classic cars or our big boats. And, these are the kind of soft tools that will get the point across that there isn't going to be a big enforcement issue that has to take place down the road by the next guy that rolls in that says, hey, this guy used it for his classic cars, but I'm going to use it as a machine shop. Because the verbiage is already there in an ordinance that this is how it was actually established. But the Planning Commission could allow for this thing to be as big as you want it to be. Without really restriction, that would be up to you and whatever you felt would fit in the neighborhood. This special land use would allow, yes, maybe the neighbors to weigh in to say, hey, we really don't want this huge building to block the sun, but maybe, it gives us enough soft tools to say, yeah, there are some rules here, there is some restriction, but there's an avenue that says if you come to us and we can probably give you whatever it is that you really need that's over and above. And these are excessive. I don't see this even coming close. When we researched this, and Karen will tell you, that a lot of the communities that are around us on the accessory structures, attached accessory structures, were far, far less than really what we're proposing. So we're already way over the top of that, knowing that, yeah, we have areas, especially our bigger lots that are sprawling, that could afford to have these bigger places. So let's embrace that. But, once again, and I'm gonna keep hitting it, I just need some tools, something to give guidance to an ordinance that says, hey, we do have a set of rules here, but we have avenues that we can go to get what you need. And, not just be the Wild West. And that's what I'm just trying to get to, Chris, and I hope you can understand.
No, I do
Just trying to
understand.
Get to that point.
My question, like Chris over there, he's talking about it. So if I build a barnuminium, we're going to say that, and I put a 1,000 square foot house in there, you mean to tell me that I can put a 6,000 square foot attached, because it's attached to the barnuminium? I can do that. Under
Right
what
now, yeah.
What you're saying, right now, we can do that.
Yeah, because I would say right now, we've noticed a gap. Almost everyone else has a cap and thresholds. When
Right.
you have a large lot in Clay, we don't address any cap or thresholds on the size of that attached accessory building. So I think that's all we want to do. We want to address it. And if you guys want to leave the gap open, we can. But, I think the goal is to do what we can to make sure that the character of these neighborhoods is kept.
What do you mean character of the neighborhoods? Like, explain that one to me, because I'd
So
like to know,
again,
because
it's
Clay
residential.
Township- Clay Township has a mismatch of everything.
Right. So if you're in a residential neighborhood, you're going to assume it's going to be residential. It's going to be other people living there.
Right.
And yes, we have regulations about home occupations. We have all this other stuff. But I do think when and again, you can have super large detached accessory structures. And so if you want to have a really large detached accessory structure, you totally can. When we have a principal structure that's a home that has a very large storage or accessory area, I could see some people just getting really creative, us running into conflicts with our home occupation ordinance. What happens if someone, purchases one of these homes thinking, oh, great, there's this huge, garage that's 3 times bigger than my house. I'm going to store all my equipment here. I'm going to run my office here. It becomes a code enforcement issue. Code says, hey, you can't do that. Here's these rules. And someone's like, well, this property already exists then, Clay. I could see this becoming a legal battle. I could see this because we're allowing structures to potentially just be built this way. It could cause conflicts. That's what I think. This is why I think, too, a lot of times when you have home occupations, including, I think, your Tier 1 home occupation, the home occupation, I think, can't take place in an accessory structure. It has to take place in the primary residence. And when suddenly that becomes attached, it becomes blurred. Well, what's the primary residence? The whole thing's a primary residence. It's all attached. Well, is it? I mean, it is, but it starts, I would say, that's where I see the big conflict, is the home occupation or someone thinking, oh, I'm going to have, just like that's what I see, and that's what I typically see in other communities. Someone sees a unique property, they're trying to do something, it becomes a code enforcement issue, a conflict, and it's unfortunate. You would like to think everyone's able to have access to all this information, and unfortunately, it's just hard to do that in real life. So I think the critical thing is, what I'm seeing is almost all communities have far more, just more regulations for their attached accessory structures than you guys currently do. There just is a gap. You guys have that for your small lots. It's not the issue with the small lots, it's for the large lots that I think could become a pretty big issue. And we're not treating the small lots and the large lots kind of the same in that matter. What's up?
So what kind of enforcement would you have for attached accessory buildings that actually turned into living space?
There's one going on right now, and I don't know where it's heading, so I can't disclose too much.
That's the problem I see.
But that, that becomes an issue, but that's more of a detached issue, though. We see that a lot in a lot of communities.
I see a lot of garages that have turned
Yeah.
into family rooms.
Right.
Well, quite frankly, though, Mark, done correctly, an attached garage could be turned into living space. So, I mean, the code could allow for that to happen.
Right.
So, I mean, that's not necessarily a problem. You know, families can grow, and that attached garage, you could convert into living space. I have one right now on Point Trumbull where they converted the attached garage into living space and then built another attached garage in front of that for the garage.
But the attached
So,
garage,
yeah, you know, so they just kind of extended it out, but.
The attached
so, I mean,
garage,
There
yeah.
are provisions in the code that allow for that.
the attached garages usually are not 600,000 or 6,000 square feet either. So, not that it's good or bad, and I'm just making a point out of it, that, you know, if you're going to turn it into a living space, whether it's an attached accessory building, then the construction on it should be identical to a residential construction code, and that includes the footing of good. Now, I know that I heard that, oh, we can do post footings,
Well,
right?
you know, post and beam construction is still in the code. And that still can be.
I know it is,
constructed.
I know it is, yeah.
So what do you, so basically, I'm totally confused, because you're talking about small lots, big lots. I mean,
So right now, your ordinance, if you're under 2 acres, there's a set of regulations for both detached and attached
I totally
buildings.
get that.
And then it's when it's the
So we're
larger
looking
lots.
for 2 and
5 or
above.
more. I think it's 5 or more acres?
Well,
Or is it 10 or more?
well, two.
2
But
more?
The, how the smaller lots, less than 2, kind of self-govern themselves is based mainly, and even the smaller ones, are lot coverage.
Right.
So lot
That's-
coverage.
that's
kind
what
of-
I'm used to, Gary,
kind of
lot
controls
coverage.
that.
So,
When you get to the bigger ones, then, there's no way, you know, to.
so
to do-
we're just looking at from 2 acres and above, basically.
Well, you know, we've got some verbiage in there.
Okay,
That is the big gap.
that's the big gap,
That's
from
the
2
big
acres
gap,
and above.
yeah.
Because I'm sitting here listening to this, and I know, I'm not even going to tell you what I know about all these things going on around here, but we're looking 2 and above.
Yes.
That's all.
That's a primary concern.
All right, so, and then you want us to regulate the 2 and above. Basically, that's what you're telling us.
Because right now, you guys have like a cap, right now you have a cap for detached. You have no cap for attached. There's
Right.
no cap.
Right.
Except for the lot coverage, really.
And that's what I'm used to going by what Gary
Right.
just said, lot coverage. So we have no cap for attached on 2 and above acres.
Right.
Okay, all right. I see
And
where
so
this
I
is
guess
going
that's
now.
where we're trying to figure out, how do we balance this, you know? Because, again, we had this one incident, and, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully, you know, I don't know, I don't know what's going to happen with them. Yeah.
But, the bottom line is, let's see what we can do. Let's, you know, hopefully favorably make something happen here where, you know, if someone has a bigger need, we have a board here that would be receptive to say, hey, if you need something bigger, then let's talk about it.
And that's going to go under the special land use permits.
Right, it would go through a special land use process. So someone comes in, they submit their residential, their plans to Gary, and he would say, hey, you're over this 135% of your principal structure. If you want to proceed, then you have to go before planning. They have to state, what are they doing with this space? And they might say, hey, I got all these boats, I got all these classic cars. I want to store it right here, and I don't want to have to walk across to a barn to do it. I want to be able to have close access to these things. And again, because it's a special land use, you're approving it for that use, you're approving that for those conditions. You can say, sure, it's used for personal, you know, we're approving under condition that it's only used for cars, boats, your physical items, you know, It's not going to turn into a private club or something else.
Yeah,
You
but
know.
I have to go back to what Mark and Chris said. How are you going to govern that? Once it leaves our area here, once it leaves Gary, and I'm Gary, I'm all for what you're going with. But how do we govern that? Because if I buy a house, you don't see it, you don't move into it, I do, and here's my new business.
That's happening all the time.
And that's right.
Happens
And
with
how are we going to govern that?
It would become a code enforcement issue, like all zoning stuff, like all uses that we deal with.
And
If
you can say that about any.
Exactly, Gary, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm with you on what you're saying, I get what you're going for now.
Zero tools, we got nothing.
Right, but I get what I get what you're going for.
This is some tools that help us get to where we need to be.
Okay.
You know, that happens on a daily basis, you know, when I've got, you know, unfinished bonus rooms, for instance.
Right, no, I get
Where,
it.
well, I'll sit there and say, well, okay, you know, at time of final inspection, bonus room was unfinished. And it's a footnote. Now, you, I, and everybody knows that when I walk away from it, that's gonna be a game room, that's gonna be another bedroom, that's gonna be whatever. But when I left, everything met code, everything was the way it was. What they do afterwards, yeah, we can't police that. We're not knocking
Right.
on everyone's door, hey, did you finish that bonus room?
Can I review it?
We can't protect everyone from that.
No,
And heaven forbid, and God help us if something happens.
Well, then if we don't have any from the 2 acres to the 5, I think maybe we should look at something.
Right.
Because if we don't have it, if that's our gray area, yeah.
That's what we came up with.
Are you being taxed for an unfinished bonus room?
That's,
If it doesn't have floor
probably-
covering? If you don't have floor covering,
If it's unfinished, I think it's treated as an attic space. as
Yeah, storage.
So, but that's better.
I know you have a problem getting a mortgage on them, so, if it's not finished. If you classify it as a bonus room.
So you were here last time and we came up with double the, from the house to the attached accessory dwelling.
Okay.
They could double it, right? Is that what it was?
I don't remember that conversation.
So what do you think?
I think we should have some sort of threshold for attached accessory buildings. Whether you guys want to say, hey, it can be up to 1 or 2 times bigger than, or even 3 times bigger. Right now, we have 135% than the
Right.
principal residence.
But like,
But I guess my concern, the way I see this is we're creating a potential conflict that we're making a great space for home occupations. And not that there's anything wrong with it, but it would conflict with your current ordinance. And something that I see happen a lot is certain regulations either aren't addressed, either there's regulations missing or a change happens and we don't realize how it might affect something else. And then buildings get created, buildings change hands, and someone says, well, this is a great open space for me to have my home occupation. They start doing it, maybe something's brought to light, and it just turns out that they're occupying more space than perhaps they're allowed. And they say, well, I purposely bought this property because it had this unique large space, and now you're telling me I can't use it, you know, and this is not like a non-conforming building in any way. And, you know, that happens, that's happened a few times in certain places with similar stuff. And when Gary first brought this to light, that's the first thing I've noticed. Because I've worked in other communities where someone said, this space is perfect for this thing, and it's newly built. It's not like it's old or non-conforming, where maybe someone used to do it in the past, and then it got discontinued, and then I'm trying to do it, and it turns out, hey, it's not allowed anymore. But it's like we're creating spaces that could allow this, or at least not allows, but cause a conflict. And so how do we want to balance this out? So,
I have a question, because this is a change in ordinance, it goes to a public hearing, correct?
yep.
So I make a motion to send this information to a public hearing. I recommend that it goes into a public hearing, the changes in the language.
As written, the 130%?
The present
135.
document Karen's provided us tonight is what you're referring to, correct?
Correct.
Because we can do the public hearing, then we see where we go from there,
I
right?
see where Gary's going with this. I understand totally now. I'm
So,
thinking in the neighborhood, no.
One more
You're
question
right.
on, before we do, how often are you seeing this? Like, what would you say, because are we seeing it once, twice a year, and we just need something to try to regulate, or are we seeing a rash of,
Not a rash.
so just,
I'm trying to stay ahead of the game.
okay, and I understand that.
And, I've been in this business a long time. I've been inspecting 26 years. I've come from, bigger communities that our zoning books are this thick.
Sure.
And now I'm in a community that our zoning book's this big. And so I'm just constantly trying to get ahead of the game. I know that we live in the country, let's face it. And we don't want to put regulations on everybody like they do in the city. I get that,
Yeah.
too. I moved out here to have a little freedom also. But we've got to have a book that means something. And when we've got a lot of blank pages, really, that don't address things that really are of concern, we've got to make some subtle changes. And I think this is one of those subtle changes that we just need to address certain hit points in our ordinance that will help me, address things that I come across. And so, yes, I think that, this type of structure is starting to
Gain momentum.
gain some strength, and I think we're going to see more of it. And we do have some nicely done barndominiums in this town that are really sharp. And I think that we're going to see more of them. And especially if they're done with post and beam construction, they're inexpensive compared to conventional. And I think they look nice too.
Yeah.
So I don't want to discourage any of that. But yeah, so do I see a lot of them? Not yet. I'm just trying to stay ahead of it before it hits us smack in the face and I got no tools.
Okay, no, I understand. I just wondering if we're going to see, at this board, if we're going to start seeing a bunch of people coming in because they want to go above what is being proposed. And again, I think what's being proposed is
Yeah, I'm not seeing that yet. I will say though that there has been one person, I haven't talked to him in probably 4 or 5 months, that spoke of another large attached accessory.
okay.
But I haven't talked to them in 4 or 5 months, so I'm not seeing that as something that's going to be ramping up your agendas.
Okay. I'll second the
So
motion.
we have a motion by Robert
Yep.
to set it for a public hearing
I'd be concerned with commercial storage.
I'll second
with
the motion.
information that you provided us tonight, Karen.
exactly.
Hold on, guys. Chris Hiltonen seconded. Any more discussion in regards to the motion?
Nope, good.
Hearing none, roll call, please.
Harold Bain.
And actually, the next meeting would be the 9/23 date? Does that sound right? September 23rd? I just looked. I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay. Well,
The September meeting date.
Public
how's that?
hearing, I'll just put at next
There you go.
meeting. So, Harold Bain.
Yes. I'm sorry, what was the motion?
So-
Harold was talking to me.
To send the attached accessory building standard languages the language changes as presented by Karen to a public hearing at
Yes.
the next meeting.
Yes.
So that was, Mark Bouchard was a yes. Whitey Simon is absent. Christine Holcomb.
Yes.
Robert Muesling, yes. Chris Hiltunen.
Yes.
Wayne Torno.
Yes.
Margie Ferris.
Yes.
And Kathy Schweikart.
Yes, thank you. Item 7B is data center moratorium. Karen?
So we have a draft moratorium ordinance from the township attorney for your review. I reviewed it, and I have no issue with it. Again, this moratorium is just to put a pause on receiving any kind of application for a data center until we come up with our own township regulations, for one. And I believe the moratorium would be for, the township attorney left it blank, but most communities are putting a moratorium for 12 months. You can either do 6, 12 months, however many. Most legal advice is no moratoria has ever, if it was ever challenged for being on for so extensive, no one's gotten past the 12-month mark. So that's usually what most communities stick with.
I went to that training last week, and they recommend you do it for 6 months.
Okay,
You can always renew it again.
that's true.
I just found out something that,
Carol, can you move
my
your-
phone is off.
Mark, okay, Mark.
Can you lift your microphone?
Microphone up. Thank you.
I just found out something interesting, that Michigan State's putting up a data center, and they don't have to go by any ordinances or anything, because all colleges are exempt from ordinance and zoning. Is that true?
Well, they're handled much differently. I know I've worked on some stuff for just public schools. I mean, if it's getting public funding, Michigan State, they have its own quasi-governmental thing.
Yeah,
So-
I was shocked when I seen that, because, when in case SC4 decides to come out here,
Yeah.
not saying that they will, or anybody, I'm not implicating anything, but when in case somebody, we can stop that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So the township attorney, this is the recommendation.
That's her
Which ways?
recommendation. If you guys are in agreement with it, we do have to hold a public hearing for it. So that would have to be scheduled. We could take public comment on it at that meeting, and if the planning commission chooses to approve it, then it goes to the board, and then they would adopt it.
All right. Anybody have any questions regards this?
How long would the moratorium last, as far as the...
It depends what you guys want to do. Skip said that at the MTA meeting, they recommended a 6-month moratorium that you could renew. Again, the maximum recommendation is no more than 12 months, typically. So if you guys want to do the 6 months, and if we don't have anything at that point that we feel comfortable moving forward with, we can extend it for another 6 months. So it's really up to the planning commission what they'd like to do.
MTA is coming out, I think they announced it today, actually, or they had some kind of workshop on it, about, some sample moratoriums, or sample ordinances that are on their books for data centers and that. So we've got something now we can take a look
Yeah,
at.
they released their data center sample ordinance. I looked at it. I was relieved that I covered most of those items with my communities, but they had a lot stricter provisions than I had seen. And obviously, whatever we come up with, we'll need to talk to our township attorney. Talked to our township attorney previously for a different community, and this was like a year ago, and at that time, she's like, this is too restrictive, you gotta eliminate all this stuff. Well, now, a lot of those things have kind of come back, and I think legally, there's more acceptance of having a lot of these restrictions putting in place. Like, the MTA ordinance has a cap on how much water and how much energy these facilities can use, which is great, but again, we don't ask that of other uses, which was the legal argument in the past, But I guess the state goal is that if we get data centers, we truly do want them to be the cream of the crop, state-of-the-art facilities that are going to be sustainable and energy efficient. And so if the state is supporting that, then if that's true, then there's no reason why the community can't enforce that. But again, we'll need to talk to the township attorney, because like I said a year ago, she told me some of these items are too restrictive, you can't do that. townships aren't the electric authority or the water authority. Only those authorities can really put a cap on their customers. But MTA came up with language. I mean, I'm sure it's an unfathomable amount still when you look at these numbers of what the cap is for water and electricity. But they are recommending that communities consider putting these caps on, which that was the only thing that kind of took me back. But they have really good language for decommissioning. They want to encourage that, should the data center facility no longer be needed, that building can be repurposed for some other industrial use, whether it's a multi-tenant industrial structure, but make sure that there's going to be life after the data center, should the data center ever not be needed there anymore. So yeah, they had a lot of really good language, and it's out now, it's available. If anyone who has I can forward it to Olivia, and we can look at it at the next meeting. It is a good template, but then again, it is just a template. We still have to come up with how to tailor it for Clay Township. And I'm hoping maybe we can come up with something in 6 months, but like I said, I've been working with my other communities for almost 2 years. So the thought of having a data center ordinance ready in 6 months sounds a little daunting, but now that if we have a sample from someone like MTA that we can work off of, which is what a lot of communities are probably going to opt to do anyway, I think that would be a good starting point for Clay, definitely. But we would still have to review all our performance standards as well, because a lot of those items we might want to think about updating alongside, which the MTA, some of the MTA stuff, like they do have like a noise ordinance and lighting ordinance language. But again, you guys already have that language and it applies to everyone. So we have to be consistent with data centers too on that. We can't be more restrictive on their lighting.
So let me ask you this, MTA sent you out a template, has their attorneys gone over that?
So this was crafted by their attorneys, their engineers, state officials, or state department heads, and other experts. So it's supposed to be vetted.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be.
The webinar today was done by one of the MTA attorneys, who I believe may be the attorney for somewhere on the west side of the state. He was going over it, and it all sounded good, but again, I think we'll have a lot of questions for our township attorney because at least the caps on water usage and power usage, those are things that I could see being challenged.
Yeah, it's unreasonable.
Yeah.
Any other questions? So we just have one number to fill in, 6 months, 12 months, and then...
Yeah, whatever you guys are comfortable with, and again, if you do 6 months, you always have the option to renew it.
So, does anybody want to make a motion? It would be number 2B, is where we need to fill in the blank.
I'll make the motion.
Go for it.
I'll make the motion to put the data centers down for renewal every 6 months on the moratorium.
We have to set a public hearing for the
23rd.
23rd.
Yep. Set a public hearing for the 23rd.
Is that okay, Karen?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion, support.
Support.
I got Skip supporting it. Anybody have any discussion? Hearing none. Robert, roll call, please.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Jeez.
Trying to help you, hurry up, man. Give you an extra pen.
Okay. Harold Bain.
Yes.
Whitey Simon is absent. Christine Holcomb.
Yes.
Robert Muesling, yes. Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Chris Hiltunen.
Yes.
Wayne Torno.
Yes.
Margie Ferris.
Yes.
And Kathy Schweikart.
Yes, thank you, Robert. Item number 8, planning consultants report.
The only thing I have extra to add is Skip called me, I think earlier this week or last week, and had some questions based on one of the planning meetings that he went to. But one of the things he brought up was, I think, Public Act 234. They talked about it and asked me what that was, and I had to go through my stuff, and I realized that it's an update that happened in, I think, 2023 that's in effect now. It changes the zoning enabling act, and it really affects natural resources extraction. And I know you guys have, you guys have your own mining ordinance, and you have some mining uses in the township. And your ordinance is in pretty good shape, but we're probably going to want to review that sooner than later so that we are in compliance with the new state regulations. And basically, the update to the state regulations is, look, natural resources just kind of are where they are, and so you can't be too prohibitive of where people can extract these resources. And one of those things is, it has to be a valuable resource that has, that is needed. And, but they've eliminated a lot of other restrictions that a lot of communities have. Like, I think, for instance, you guys, you have to prove that there is it's a valuable resource, like sand, gravel, whatever, oil. Then you also have to prove that there is an immediate market demand. And you can't ask that, according to this new language in the ordinance. And that is one thing that I found in your ordinance. Your mining ordinance is actually fairly compliant. There's not much we have to change, but to be honest, I think there's probably a few provisions that we got to tweak, because this is probably going to sneak up on us sooner rather than later when someone comes to renew their permit or what have you, and we have to go through the special land use criteria. We have to make sure that it's compliant with what the state asks us now.
Thank you.
So more zoning ordinance amendments.
You're going to be busy, or we're going to be busy. ZBA number 9, representatives report.
There were 2 items on last meeting. I was not there, but I did go over it. Just another unobstructed porch on Bluebill was approved. And then a fence on South Channel was denied. She didn't have any practical difficulty, so it was just said, is there practical difficulty? And she said yes, and didn't really have much to back it up. It was regarding, I guess, the Phragmites. She wanted to block the Phragmites. That was it.
Thank you.
That was it.
Item number 10 is board representatives report, which should be Mark.
Yeah, we had a good job tonight. Appreciate everybody's help. The board trustees running pretty smooth, just let everyone know that. And basically all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Mark. Number 11, chairperson's report. Just want to thank everybody for their hard work, and it was a great discussion, and I'm glad to see we all work together well and are respectful of each other. So, and I hope you have a nice Labor Day weekend. So it is coming up quick, it's hard to believe. Number 12 is planning commission member comments.
I just had one thing real quick, that when we approved the public hearing, or the tabling for the gas station,
Yeah.
there were a couple items that the engineer had pointed out too that we probably should have thrown, their site plan,
Oh, the letter, yeah.
from the engineer, they had a couple items that they wanted to see on the site plan, under the tank locations.
Is that something we,
I don't know if there could be communication with them when they're updating the site
do
plan.
remember seeing that
Just
now.
address those items. I thought about it earlier, and then during that motion, I forgot about it.
what's your thoughts, Karen?
I'm sure we can communicate that to the applicant, and it's up, I guess since it's possible that it might be missed because it wasn't discussed at the meeting while they're here, if for whatever reason that's not addressed, and they're were they engineering items or site plan items?
They're
It's
site
for
plan.
PCE.
I'll have to look and see what they are.
There are a couple of engineering, but, a couple of site plans were, location of the underground tanks, and then record of their sanitary sewer lead, just to verify that it will not be interfere, because it comes through Helene, and it's probably, the tanks are going to be right
Yeah,
there,
we
so.
can try to communicate that to them, and hopefully they can be prepared to have that on their plan at the next meeting.
It was the letter of July 20th from Project Control Engineering, if that
They
helps.
should have, I'll talk to Olivia and see what we can do to get that relayed to them if they can.
I think it's just.
Confirm whatever engineer wants confirmed for the site plan.
Thank you for bringing it to our.
Yeah, sorry, I missed that.
No, that's okay, thanks.
That's it.
So can I ask a question? When the engineering sends that, don't they have to comply to what they're asking and give back to them, or no?
I think the engineering report does go to the applicant, but.
Yeah, engineering report goes, so their report's the same as mine, but they kind of do a cursory review. And so they have to, after they get approval, that's when they're deep in communication with the engineer, and they have to meet all the engineering.
Yeah.
So they still have to meet all this.
But
criteria.
ultimately, whatever you guys say is what they're going to follow.
Yeah, that's why the site plan portion is the one that I was hoping to see on there, and then the engineering-related items we would see
It's the first
after
part of it.
the special land use was granted. I think that's when they would address the engineering-related items.
So you're going to reach out to Olivia?
I'll reach
or-
out to Olivia, or I can try to reach out to the applicant themselves and say FYI, the site
I meant
plan
this too.
part two. If you can figure out how to answer those for next.
There's like
meeting.
3.
Yeah,
bullet
they look
points.
simplistic. I mean, it's just.
Some of them mirror mine, but I don't, the sewer thing, because I don't know if that's really a zoning, so a site
Yeah.
plan use thing, I wasn't focused on that, but obviously if it conflicts with another ordinance in the township, then they got to address that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Any other board member comments?
Just a couple. I was at that training last week, and there's a couple of interesting points that came out of the thing. We talked first about renewable energy, wind turbines, solar panels, and battery energy storage systems. And that's all covered under Public Act 233, which kind of ties our hands as far as anything we can do on the larger facilities. There's a couple workarounds on it, but for the most part, it goes to the Public Service Commission. They make a determination. I think there's 10 cases there now, none of them have been decided yet. So that was kind of interesting, and we spent a lot of time on data centers. And Public Act 233 does not apply to data centers, which is, they caution a lot on exclusionary zoning. You be careful how you do your, zoning ordinances, so you're not making it so tight that you can only have a data center on this little square block here kind of thing. It's the only place that you can do it. Because what happens is this company's putting these in, they have billions and billions of dollars they're investing in it, and they have big law teams, and they'll come after the townships, try to bully you, that kind of thing, and they'll weaponize whatever you're doing, so we just got to be careful how we go about doing it. And they brought up an interesting case, it's kind of scary. It was a Peninsular Township, was sued by 11 wineries that's up in the Leonal thing, because they were too tight on their restrictions. They were restricting everything in that, and they got sued. And they ended up winning a $50 million settlement. The township, is on the hook for it now, so they're in scramble mode. They're, appealing it, but it doesn't look like they're going to go anywhere with the appeal. So now they're looking at special assessments for property owners and all of that to pay the thing off. So just something to be aware of. And I thought the training was really good. There was a bunch of other stuff, too, that'll be coming up as we get more into the data center thing. So, and the other thing I got, it seems the board has meetings out on the island periodically, and it's been pointed out to us that we're overloaded with island people here. What about us having a meeting out on the island?
When we set our meeting dates in December, we can look at it then.
Let's look at it
At the end of
then.
November,
Maybe
beginning of
schedule a couple
December.
out there.
That's a
We've
good
done them
idea.
out there before, haven't we? Or, oh, I think I was ZBA.
Nope.
I have.
We've done joint meetings in the past, but they've always been
Yeah.
here. So I don't think we've ever done a planning commission meeting on the island.
Something to think about.
That's something to think about, for sure. I appreciate that.
That's all I got.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing the information you learned. Chris, anything?
No.
Robert?
Nope.
This Chris.
I was just curious, got a question, because nothing's come back to us for a couple months now, just wondering what's happening. I think it was mentioned at our last meeting with Flats Resort.
See, they're closed down today. It said they're closed for some work.
Well, they never came back to us, so I'm curious as to how they
They're
opened.
closed on Mondays and Tuesdays.
I saw something posted
No,
that they're
closed
closed
for
for
redoing their water system.
some work.
Maybe Gary can needs to approach the
Can you
podium.
enlighten us, Gary?
I've been
probably
seeing a lot of
so.
people enjoying their.
So what I know right now, yeah, they're closed down right now temporarily. They'll give you a lot of excuses why, but probably the biggest reason is that the health department probably had a big say in that. Just as an update, I myself and our township attorney, along with Bill Fritz and his attorney, did have a meeting last week. We had to sit down and discussed the flats and what was required. Number one thing was planning commission approval, which of course they don't have yet. So we did a walkthrough there, and we had all the inspectors there, and found that there was a lot of work done there since 2021, when Tom DeWicki took over the ownership of that building. And so we found a lot of work done. All of us inspectors identified a lot of that work. And so we've been working towards them getting proper permits and getting inspections. To date, we've only received one permit application. No permits have been issued. So we had that as a discussion at our meeting with the attorneys. Also kind of enlightened perhaps Mr. Fritz about really what that was prior to him taking involvement there, because he only got involved in that in 2025. And he was perhaps misinformed under the impression that that had always been a bar, always been open to the public, and I think we know that it was not. So, you know, just doing things right, getting on the right track, and I assured him that, you know, we at the township want it to be open, we want them to be a viable business. We just got to do things right. Get the permits, get the inspections. Of course, my main concern, let's get a safe building, and let's get the planning commission part also done. You know, last time he was here, I just want to open up the bar. We need a site plan, and you guys know that. And they keep putting things into the site plan, taking things out. We're at the end of the season. They managed another season without planning commission approval, and take a step back, get your site plan right. I think Larry Scott, Fritz's attorney, is probably taking over the spotlight in getting the approval for the planning commission. I think he's going to take lead on that, so hopefully something's going to happen. Now, we had this meeting last week, and he took Karen's number down, and you know, who do I need to contact? Okay, you need to contact Karen. I asked Karen before the meeting, no call yet. So who knows where it's going to go? No permits yet, who knows where it's going to go? So that's what I know. Yes, they're closed down right now, and maybe the health department got through to them that you just can't open and be open and totally disregard what's really required.
So
So,
Clay Township can't shut them down? Them?
well, end result right now, they are shut down, but
I was just curious how you police that. Somebody's not worked years
I know.
getting a
Yeah,
cycling in.
there was
Staying in the business.
unforeseen circumstances, but, end result. I mean, that wasn't our main intention. I mean, even last year, when they were running, some charity events over there, and I'll be straight up and tell you, and talking with DeWicki, and it's like, you've got to get this planning commission part taken care of. You've got to turn this stuff in, you've got to get your approvals. And, it's like, I'm putting a blind eye to it, but get it done. We don't want to shut you down. We want you to be a viable business. We want you to succeed. He just give an inch, took a mile. And that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree with you, Gary. It's not that we don't want to see them succeed
Correct.
or not have another business on
Correct.
the island, in the township. People seem to greatly appreciate what they've experienced there so far. But the problem is, they haven't come back to us. And I don't want to see a precedent being set, because then what do we do to the next person?
Correct.
When they say, well, they never came back and they're open. I mean, it causes an issue for the township.
I agree.
So hopefully we'll see them back soon.
One of the things that the Health Department requires, Liquor Control Commission requires, is that they have a C of O. And they do not have a C of O. And I made it clear with them that I will not issue a C of O until they have the Planning Commission approval. And that was backed up by our township attorney, that Planning Commission approval comes first.
Oh, he got an
So-
occupancy from George Rose, didn't he?
What's that?
He got an occupancy from George Rose, didn't he?
No, we did not.
I know he didn't. He said he did, because he sat right here in the meeting and told us George Rose gave him an occupancy permit, and that's when I asked him, no, Gary can only give it to you.
That's right.
George gave him a capacity, just.
Yeah, I know what George gave him, yeah, but he sat here and told us he gave him an occupancy permit. No. But okay, I'm sorry. Gary.
No, just a lot of mistruths we've heard, right? So hopefully things will straighten up, but we'll see.
I hope it
That's
does.
all I got.
Well, hopefully we see them before May.
Well, that's the hopes, and, I hit home at that meeting last week was, what happened last fall and all last winter, when that was the time to submit all that information to the Planning Commission. That was the time to do it, and not come in here in May, all strong-headed like they were, and blaming us for not cooperating
Didn't they
and
come
not
in-
letting them
Didn't they
open.
come in November, Gary, or December, and said that they were going to invite both of you, the planner and you, to take a tour?
Yeah, and that never happened.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. That was, and the last time it was straight up, they denied me entry. And it wasn't until after where we pushed the envelope that we're coming in. And that's when we got in. So, and that was just, after they're just blatantly open.
It is what it is, yeah.
I have a question, not related to what I asked, but something different that I've
Somebody
seen
threw me out
happening.
the door already.
It appears that there's a few businesses in the township that have not gotten permission for outdoor entertainment when they first came in front of us. The solution seems to be to go to the police department to get a special permit. And I don't know how does that happen? How is the police department giving out permits when the planning commission has said no outdoor entertainment, but it's a special event? It's always a special event. What choices do we have? I mean, I'm asking Karen, anybody?
I guess my inclination from what I see in other communities, because communities have festivals, they have, something temporary, it's a once-a-year thing. The last time I feel like we've dealt this was with like On the Rocks. And I figure if you know you're going to have a regular thing for a season or whatever, you know, I'm going to be doing this outside regularly, you need to come to the planning commission. If this is a one-off thing, if you guys have a different process for that, then okay. But if part of your use is, I'm going to be regularly having live music or people dining outside or whatever, then it's definitely a planning commission thing. But it is going to, some people you have to go before the township board, or it is through like police or fire, where they get this, hey, can I have this big tent up? We're having this fundraiser or whatever. Or, you know, a one-off party that's happening either one weekend or one day. That does happen. Because it might not be annual. It could just be the one time, I don't know. But I do find that is a pretty common thing, and especially if that's not going to be your regular use. So.
It just seems to be frequently.
If it's frequently, then that might mean something else. It might mean that maybe they should come before planning, but I guess it just depends on what the situation is.
So how do you curb it, though? Do you?
Ideally, you would like to think if whoever is receiving these applications saying, hey, you're coming in every weekend, or you're coming in every month. But again, if they don't know, I guess how does all this get communicated? I don't know.
I guess that's my question is what jurisdiction does the police department have? What kind of format do they look at for these special permits? I never knew that's where they went until it was brought to our attention before.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what a good solution is, other than if there's communication between building and police, and if someone's like, hey, if they've applied so many times in a year, or so many times in a season, you know, like, is this your third or, you know, I don't know what the cap to be. Is this your fifth event in the last 5 months? Or is this your fifth event in the last 12 months? Because I do think it's understood with your outdoor dining or outdoor entertainment, it's going to be for a long period of time, or regularly, you know, whether it's every weekend, you know, 5 days a week, whatever they apply for. And we don't have a planning solution for if you're doing this one time for like a week or a weekend. In other communities, they go to the ZBA for a temporary use. But you guys, I don't think it sounds like for a temporary use, they go to police, so they're aware, how big is this event, where is it gonna happen, and, you know, you do need your police department to be aware of this activity.
Well, that's fine, but if they're given the permit, what are we here for?
The regular uses.
Yeah, well, you know.
I think what they're saying is, how do we inform the police department? Do we need to set an ordinance or do something that says?
That limits.
Exactly.
Yeah, there needs to be some kind of cap or communication of, hey, if they've applied so many times in a certain amount, so many times in a certain period of time, you need to boot them to us, and we need to talk to them. How that's going to happen.
Do we need to set that in an ordinance to where the police department can look at
I
it?
think we have an ordinance on how many garage sales you can have.
Exactly. I mean.
But we don't have, I don't think we have anything about something like that. So
I'm throwing a party next week. I'm just gonna go to the police department. That's it, perfect.
Yeah, it's
So
like,
our permits issued by the police department, I haven't seen one yet, but I do know that based on history, they're surrounded with holidays. Okay, that's where the events are. So they're very temporary. One day, basically one day, and that's it, or maybe go into a 2-day if it's over the 4th of July. That's where all that permit stuff comes in at. Mainly, they're looking at underage drinking and/or noise. So that's what they're monitoring, especially the noise, because they get a lot of noise complaints constantly. And all of the facilities are.
But we should, then that should fall under a permit for special usage. I mean, why are the police department giving out any permits? Because it's a party, right?
It happens in a lot of places, like, that is just how a lot of places handle tent events, you know,
But
not
yeah.
frequent tent events, I mean, I hate to say it, but I'd say it's pretty common in communities, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing it, the special events like you speak of, Mark, you know, a few times a year, then yeah, maybe that, an ordinance addresses that. But if you're doing it
Every
regularly
weekend.
all the time, then maybe that's, you have to come to the planning commission and get approval to have this type of entertainment.
Well, at an establishment, do you need a permit to have a wedding? Do you need a permit to have a bar mitzvah? Do you need a permit to, you know what I'm talking about?
Well,
I mean,
inside of
it's
those
just
buildings
a
or that
one-time.
establishment.
I mean, why would you need a permit to have a wedding?
If it's outside.
I don't think so.
If it's outside, it's the same thing.
But I guess what I'm saying is, what if a business hasn't been approved to have any outdoor entertainment? And their solution is to go to get a special permit every weekend? How do we stop that?
That's your next job.
Well, here, let me ask you this, why would we stop it?
Sounds like another gap that we gotta investigate.
Why would we stop it?
Why would we stop it?
Because we specifically have told businesses that they can't do it, and they're doing it
They're in a
behind your
residential
backs.
area.
Because we got a noise ordinance.
Grab that loophole.
Through that loophole.
And it's happening on commercial property?
This is surrounding residents.
I know.
Surrounded by residents.
Yeah, we could.
So that falls under the noise ordinance. It happened to the Rocks, on the Rocks. They said they weren't going to do it, and they did it before. And that's what the problem is over there. I mean, you're looking at a
There's many
canal that's
times
right
I
next
go
to
by
it.
there and they have huge tents up.
Yeah, and they're not,
But it's a matter of enforcing the noise ordinance.
Miles away.
It's just a matter of enforcement.
Yeah, but does it fall under special land use? I mean, if they weren't granted that, I mean, why,
Well,
so you go to the police department, I get it, that you avoid coming for a permit, you go to the police department, we're going to have a party for this weekend.
So we're gonna have a special
If
planning
there's an
committee meeting to
ordinance
give
that
them a
says you
permit.
can have, 4 special events a year,
Right.
and the police department, if you exceed that, then you have to go to the planning commission and get
Exactly.
special land use to have that outdoor entertainment. Sounds like a avenue you may want to investigate.
And you don't want to stifle business, but, I mean, come on. If that's the case, I could, have speakeasy somewhere, just go, tell the cops, here, this is where it's gonna be. Can I get a permit?
Sounds like we have a topic to discuss at the next meeting. You kind of get the general idea what Chris is trying to say. Okay. Maybe you can help us figure out which direction we need to go. How's that? Okay. Any other comments from the board?
Yes, I'm sorry I was late. I am sorry that I was
You
late.
get to stay 2 minutes
demerit,
later.
to stay after now.
We're glad you joined us. Mark, how about you? Any comment? And Margie?
I'm all set.
All set? Number 13. No, number 13, public comments. I see nobody present in the public, so therefore there's no public comments. Number 14 is motion to adjourn. Go for it.
Motion to
Heard 'em.
adjourn.
We got a motion to adjourn in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? No. We're all set. Thank you.